The newest entry to the Call of Duty franchise has landed, but not everything in it's perfectly obvious. Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on gameranx, 10 things Black Ops Cold War doesn't tell you. Starting off at number 10, which gun is the most OP? During the beta, people thought the most OP gun was the sniper rifle, but there is a new challenger, the MP5. Yeah, okay, this is one that players complained about during the beta, but while sniper rifles got nerfed into oblivion, the MP5 is still actually very powerful. Just slap a hipfire attachment like laser sight on it, and you'll be taking out enemies left and right without a lot of trouble at all. What makes the MP5 so good is not just its damage output, but its range. It can kill guys from really far away, further than you might think. There's a reason so many people are complaining about this thing on Reddit. It's because it's killing them. And also, don't worry about laser sights giving away your position. They actually don't do that in this game. You can see the laser, but your enemies can't, so there's really no downside to equipping a laser sight this time around. I wish I could give some tips on how to counter the MP5 because it's a weapon you're going to be seeing a lot of until the developers come in and nerf it, but right now, the best you can do is either use an MP5 or deal with it, I guess. Another challenger for the most OP is the default LMG. In the right hands, you can just tear right through opponents with ease. Moving on to number 9, there is a performance mode, they just don't tell you about it. You can drastically improve performance if you're playing on PS5 or Xbox One X by simply turning off ray tracing. I mean, that's a given, and you can find that in the graphics settings for the game, and outside those ray tracing settings, there is a performance mode that you can turn on, but it's not actually found in the game. On the PS5 at least, you go into settings, then save data, then game app settings. After that, go into game presets and change the performance mode or resolution mode from game default to performance. Yes, it will actually improve the performance in Cold War when you switch it, even though there isn't any performance mode options in the actual game. It's bizarre, but it works. I mean, the game is totally playable with ray tracing turned on for the campaign and that performance mode setting left on default for the campaign, especially if you're playing at 1080p, but in multiplayer or zombies, the slowdown is a lot more noticeable. You'll probably want to make some changes to the settings when you play these modes, because these are the modes where frame rate matters a lot more. At number 8, you can unlock the padlock in the Safehouse. Between missions in the campaign, you'll go to a place called the Safehouse. It's where you talk to teammates, plan the next mission. But there is also a little secret here as well. If you look around, you'll find this padlock with a 6-digit code. Besides it is a little clue listing 3 documents you can find outside the Safehouse, and the order they're listed in is the order you'll need to input the numbers found on each document. Now, the first document you'll need is the clinical record, found in the small hallway that doesn't go anywhere. There's 2 numbers highlighted, 1 and 1. Second document is the Warren Commission report. It's on the ground next to the padlock. It has the numbers 2 and 2. Last document's in the dark room and is called the Dallas News article. It has the last 2 numbers, 6 and 3. So if you put that all together, it's 11/22/63, which doesn't sound familiar, but this one might get you. It's actually the date of the Kennedy assassination. What's the connection? Well, remember the first Black Ops game, the ending implied you're the dude who may have assassinated Kennedy while under Soviet mind control. Yeah, these games are nuts. What you find behind the door isn't really so sinister, though. It's an arcade cabinet where you can play all the games you unlock throughout the campaign. And there's a computer that you can screw around in as well. You can even play text adventures on it like Zork. At number 7, settings for your console for playing this game in multiplayer. For most PCs, these settings are not necessary, but for consoles, the game's introduced a few options that can make your multiplayer experience a little smoother, because you're using a controller. A big new one is the fact that console players can now finally adjust their field of view. If you bump it up, you get a wider view of the area, although if you crank it up too high, you might encounter some graphical issues, and it also might look extremely weird to you. Bumping it up by 10 or 20 points can help you see a little bit better without running into the issues that the game warns you about, so just experiment with it and find out what works best for you. There is no reason to have motion blur on if you're playing multiplayer. It's already hard enough to spot people sometimes, so get rid of that. If the trigger effects on the PS5 are throwing you off, just turn them off in the controller settings. They're a cool addition when you're playing single player, like in simulation, but having to pull really hard on triggers for multiplayer might throw you off a bit. And if you're playing with a controller, turning on the slowdown and strafing aim assist also helps a lot. If anything, the aim assist might actually be a bit too powerful at the moment. I don't like it. At number 6, let's talk about spotting enemies. So a big complaint about this game is that it's hard to see people in multiplayer. There's a few things that you can do to give yourself a little bit of an edge, but there's no silver bullet solution that's going to work for everybody. A big one is that if you've got HDR on your TV or monitor, you should go into the setting. Again, you can't do it in game. You'll have to do it in the console system settings and turn it off or just recalibrate it so that everything's brighter. Changing the field of view can help as well. I suggested bumping it up by 10, 20 points previously, because at 100, you can get a wider view of the map. But just to be clear, it might actually start making it hard to see other players. A lot of people recommend keeping your FOV around 90 instead. It increases the field of view somewhat without making it really any harder to spot people. Messing with the colorblind settings can actually help as well. Personally, I found the Protanopia setting to give the best visibility. I am not colorblind, it just makes certain things bolder. At least that's what it looks like to me anyhow. But try it all out, see if something actually works better for you. You may not even notice any difference. And number 5 is how to solve Operation Chaos. So in the Cold War campaign, after completing the Fractured Jaw mission, you'll unlock 2 side missions that you can play at any time. One is Operation Chaos, the other is Operation Red Circus. The thing is, you don't want to just go and play them right away because you'll need to find 3 pieces of evidence hidden in different campaign levels in order to solve a puzzle in order to get the best outcome. Like with Operation Chaos, you may take out your target, but his spiring remains intact without first decrypting a disk. Sounds confusing, and it's because it is. But let's break down and explain where to find some of the evidence for each operation and how to solve its connected puzzle. The 3 pieces of evidence for Operation Chaos are in Nowhere Left to Run, the first mission, where you'll get this one pretty much automatically. The next one's in Brick in the Wall. You find this in the interrogation room that you're asked to go check out. It's the side mission of the level. In Red Light, Green Light, you can find things upstairs in the fake 80s bar. It's also connected to the side mission of this level. Now, to actually decrypt the disk, though, you have to look for the encoded message. On it, you'll see a sequence of numbers alternating red and blue. The actual number sequence is random, so just look at the red numbers and try to figure out the pattern. You're supposed to fill in the missing number, and the actual pattern is pretty basic as long as you remember that the red number pattern and the blue number pattern are completely separate. Now take the 2 numbers you get from that, which should make a 4-digit code, and check the numbers station broadcast. That lists a series of numbers that connects with the name of a city. So find the city name that matches your code, and that's what you should put as your answer for decryption. Now the second part, you want to check the coded newspaper. In the headline, you'll see some conspicuous red letters, which when you put them together, make the name of a city. Now just remember the name and check the number station broadcast again to get the code that's connected to the city. That's your second password for the decryption. Now this stuff is a bit laborious, but now you can finally run Operation Chaos and expect to actually get the best outcome. And number 4 is how to solve Operation Red Circus. Yeah, I've split this into 2 points because these are pretty complicated actually. Red Circus also requires 3 pieces of evidence, which can be found in these 3 missions. Brick in the Wall, kinda hidden behind a vent in Krause's apartment. It's actually pretty easy to miss, so look closely at everything when you're in his apartment. The next mission is Echoes of a Cold War, which is in the old command room on a table, and in Desperate Measures, which is in the records room. It's actually also disguised as a wristwatch as well, so that's what you gotta be looking out for. For this operation, you need to figure out who's a mole in a list of suspects, and it's kind of like a more deadly version of Who or Clue, as you'll soon see. Again, the identities of the mole are randomized, so you can't just say which ones to pick, which means we'll have to explain the puzzle. First, look at Krause's ledger. He gives you a list of cities and dates. You'll need to cross-example those cities with recent travel lists of all the suspects and take notice of the ones that overlap. Next, you listen to the audio report to find out the gender of the suspect. Finally, check out the dead drop list, which gives more dates and cities, but can help you be absolutely sure which agents are the moles. This one's actually possible to complete without the last piece of evidence. So if you think you've definitely got it figured out with the first 2, then you probably have. Either way, select the 3 suspects you think are moles and complete Operation Red Circus. If you were right, you will get the best outcome. At number 3, there is a connection to Modern Warfare. Yeah, previously the Modern Warfare and Black Ops campaigns were thought to take place in totally separate universes, but with Cold War, we see that they might actually be one and the same. This isn't a small thing either. During the mission where you infiltrate the KGB, you run into a guy that might look a little familiar if you're a fan of these games. Imrim Zakiev. Don't remember the name? Well, he is the main antagonist of Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. He's the guy who gets his arm shot off. He's there in 1981, which seems to line up with what we know about him from the original Modern Warfare games. He looks pretty much all the same too. Bald head, long beard. Like, it's not really just an Easter egg because it's just him, but it's kind of a shock for longtime Call of Duty players to see a crossover like this happen in what we thought were separate series. At number 2 is Dirt Bomb Tips. This new mode in Cold War can be kind of overwhelming at first. It's kind of like a smaller battle royale ground war hybrid where teams fight to collect uranium and detonate dirty bombs. There's a few things you're going to want to do if you want to get anywhere in this mode. First off, you might want to try to get a lot of uranium at the beginning of a match, and to easily do that, you can just land on the tree line outside of the bomb point. New players tend to go directly for the point, but that makes them a very easy target if you just land on the outside. Like, clear them out from far away and you'll be able to mop up the uranium they drop to give to your team for an early advantage. Also, you're going to want to adjust your loadout for mid to long range battles, so rifles and sniper rifles are actually king in this mode. Shotguns aren't going to get a lot of use, especially because like Warzone, this mode has armor, so that means longer time to kill. So you're, in a lot of cases, going to get killed while reloading. Getting extended magazines is really a must for this mode. Armor means a higher time to kill, and if you want a chance at killing somebody with a single clip while they're wearing armor, you're pretty much going to have to equip an extended magazine. At number 1, you might be surprised to find out there are multiple endings. It's kind of a throwback to the way Black Ops 2 played out, but this game gives you multiple choices to make during the campaign. Most are small and don't have much of an effect on the ending, but it gives the game a slightly more open-ended feeling. Obviously, we're going to talk about some end spoilers here, so keep that in mind, but that's why we saved this one for the end. You have been effectively warned. If you don't want that stuff, hit like now, subscribe, all that stuff, enable all notifications. But this is the point of no return, is what I'm saying. There's really one big choice that changes the ending, whether you tell the truth during the interrogation mission or not. Don't worry about missing it either. It makes itself extremely obvious that it's an important thing. Basically, if you tell the truth, you get the good ending. All the Black Ops dudes survive and you stop the nuclear bomb from detonating. Funny thing is, there's actually 2 bad endings, which both depend on if you lie during the interrogation instead. It actually gives you a completely different final mission, so it's worth playing through at least once. In it, you betray and kill all of your former allies before Perseus sets off the nuclear bombs. It totally destroys whatever canon these games have, but it's definitely shocking and interesting at very least. In the third possible ending, you lie during the interrogation, but then when you're given the option to inform Perseus, you just don't. The bad ending plays out like normal, but instead of killing your team, they kill you. Perseus still blows up the bomb, so it's still a bad ending, but things turn out extra bad for you. And a quick bonus thing that you probably don't know just from playing, it's a quick warning for anyone playing the Checkmate map. Don't use the chopper gunner score streak. The entire map is set inside a large hangar, so when you activate Chopper Gunner, you end up flying around inside of the hangar, and it is nearly impossible to hit anyone. Seriously, look at this. You cannot see shit. Don't do it. Don't do it. That is all for today, though. Leave us a comment. Tell us what you think. If you like this video, click like. If you're not subscribed, now's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week, and the best way to see them first is, of course, a subscription. So click subscribe. Don't forget to click the notification bell. And as always, we thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter, Falcon the Hero, and we'll see you next time right here on gameranx.